Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Lydia and this is my third ever AuthorTube video. Woo! And I figured before I get more ahead of myself with creating more of writing vlog videos and craft videos, I wanted to do the AuthorTube Newbie tag where you get to know me a little bit better and I can really properly introduce myself to this amazing community. And I am doing the 1.0 version of the tag. This was created by Jenna the Dark One and I will link her below to give her some credit. And away we go. Number one, how did I find out about AuthorTube? Totally by accident, and I feel like the majority of people say that about AuthorTube. For me, I was on Facebook and I was trying to find a writing community after finishing a novel, doing a start to finish novel, and really wanting to feed into the community, learn more from people. And the Facebook communities weren't really scratching that itch, but someone did mention, hey, Brandon Sanderson post lectures on YouTube, and I'm like, huh, that's crazy, but okay, let's check it out. And I did, and then good old YouTube was like, hey, see that you're into that, here's AuthorTube. And number two, what genres do I write in? So right now I've been doing contemporary fantasy only and pulling a lot of Greek mythology elements into it, but I want to branch out with my next story and do high fantasy. And this story will actually be my first story I'll ever try to attempt NaNoWriMo with. So I'm super excited and also terrified at the same time. Please help. Number three. So I actually have the questions up here so I don't forget any of the ones because number three has a little bit of a bullet point kind of format. It is, what is my preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? So writing tense, I love past tense. I don't know why that seems to be very natural for me to write. I also find that when I'm reading a book, I find it easier to dive into the story straight away with past tense. Present tense tends to take a while for my brain to adjust to it, and I don't really know why. Maybe it's just because fantasy tends to be past tense, and so I'm just brainwashed and used to it. So then, point of view, I do third person. Third person perspective, again, seems to be an easier way for me to melt into the story faster than first person. First person, when I first start reading a book, always feels very jarring. I'm not saying that I will never write first person. That will probably happen at some point. I feel like at some point every writer plays around with POVs and how you do it. So never say never, Lydia. And as for category, I'm an adult fantasy writer. Number four, am I a plotter, pantser, or plancer? I am a hardcore pantser. Like, I know it's on a spectrum where you have pantser and planner. I am pantser. Like, when I start writing a story, I may possibly have the opening image of the story in my head, and that will be it. I will start writing, and that's how I learn the story, the characters, the plot, all of that. Now, do I say this is an ideal thing? No. I would love to be a plancer. I would love to be able to outline a tiny little bit because I know that that would save me so much time when it comes to developmental edits. So I'm working so hard on figuring out a way to push myself more into the plancer mode, and I may attempt to read Save the Cat in a few weeks, so stay tuned for that. I'm sure I'll be making a vlog with me reading Save the Cat and either loving it or crying over it. Number five, am I self-published, published, or yet to be published? I am yet to be published. I did try to query my first ever novel earlier this year. I did end up shelving it. Long story short, I think it was too soon for that story. Number six also requires me to have my trusty dusty question in front of me because it is a bit long. So it says, what publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company am I represented by or use? And if I'm not yet published, what is my dream publishing house and or literary agents? So I do want to be traditionally published. There's a laundry list of reasons as to why I want to be traditionally published over being self-published. Not gonna go into that right now, but to answer this question, I don't have a dream agent, agency, or publisher, mainly because I'm afraid to do that to myself, because once I start doing that and really zeroing in on a very small amount, that means that I will almost have this weird sense of failure if I get rejected by them and not be as excited if another agent shows interest and another publisher shows interest. And honestly, I should be excited for any of them. It is working with an agent, working with a publisher. It's a business transaction. They're business partners. And I'm only going to be querying people that I want to work with. Number 7 is, what AuthorTube related videos will you expect from me? So I will be doing some tags like this. I won't be doing a lot of them, but I do like how tags are floating around AuthorTube and BookTube. I think that they are really fun ways to get to know people and interact with the community. I'm also going to sprinkle in some craft videos. I do think that they are amazing ways to learn about story and to also give people information. But I think with this channel, I'm going to focus primarily on writing vlogs. I know I've only done one so far. Unfortunately, I have been dealing with a lot of neck shoulder pain, so I've been limiting how much time I spend writing. But once I'm back in action, it's going to be primarily writing vlogs. It's a way to keep myself motivated and accountable when it comes to writing. But those are the videos I love to watch on AuthorTube. So why would I not make videos that I like to watch? Number 8, when did I start writing? So I fell in love with writing when I was 10. That was the year I discovered The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and it was also the first time an adult who wasn't in my family said I was smart and I was capable of doing something, which is just the most, it's the most mind-blowing thing to have that sensation. So I will forever be thankful and grateful to my 5th grade English teacher, Mr. Bruce Barsky. And so that's the reason I did start writing in the first place. And I remember sitting with him after hours to go over stories I randomly wrote, and he would actually take his time and edit them with me and show me how to edit and explain to me certain concepts to keep in mind when I'm writing. And I carried that through me all the way through high school. College, I kind of fell out of writing. I was convinced that you don't write as a hobby, which I think is insane now that I think about it, but I didn't know anyone who just wrote to write. You either were writing because you wanted this to be your career or you didn't write at all. So fast forward to 2020, when 2 of my really close friends were like, I totally write novels. Yeah, we're doing this all the time for fun. Maybe we'll get published someday, but that's not the primary goal. It blew my mind. I was like, I miss writing. Why not sit down and try to write? And I fast drafted my first ever novel. It was amazing. I've never looked back. Number 9, what was the first story I ever wrote? I remember being obsessed with Last of the Mohicans when I was little. Primarily the movie, not so much the books. And I remember, I guess it was almost like, in hindsight, it was almost fanficky-ish. It wasn't the same characters from Last of the Mohicans, but at the same time period. It was like the same kind of almost storyline. But I think I got into like 10,000 words and gave up because I didn't know what I was doing. The next time I really wrote a real story and start to finish, that would be back in 2020, where it's the main character is a vampire, and I wrote more about the vampire communities that she protects and works around, and what happens if those communities become under attack. Number 10, what authors have inspired my writing the most? I find this is a hard question because I don't pull my story inspiration from books. I think that's a really weird thing to say. I think most people do. For me, I find a lot of my inspiration actually from TV shows and movies. I'm a very visual person, and because when I'm reading, I can't visualize things in my head. But I guess I could say Neil Gaiman is one of the big ones. American Gods blew my mind the first time I read it. I think I was 11 or 12 when I read it for the first time. And it was when I realized what fantasy really could do. I had read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, so I understood high fantasy concepts. But American Gods it's contemporary fantasy, so it's a world that I know. And all of a sudden he's now telling me all the gods from all of these myths from around the world could possibly be real in my current world. And to me, that was just crazy. It was insane. And I was like, I want to write like that. This is the coolest thing ever. Number 11 is, do I schedule my writing sessions or do I write whenever I can? I try to schedule writing sessions. I need structure in my day or else my day goes completely nowhere. Nothing happens. Number 12, last long question. Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? And where do you write in general? I write with my computer. I used to write by hand, but my handwriting has gotten so bad, and I'm actually a lot slower now with writing than I am with typing. that it's easier for me to just get the word vomit out hammering away on the computer. Again, I'm also a pantser, so I know majority of the words I'm writing, I'm going to end up deleting anyway. And it's just so much easier to do it all on the computer. I don't know how people can do on typewriters, because that just sounds, and also by hand, because the amount of things I'd have to fix and clean up even before I could translate onto the computer sounds absolutely daunting. Final question is, what am I looking forward to the most now that I have an AuthorTube channel? And I'm honestly just excited about the community. Hi everyone, hi community. I love the writing community so freaking much. You guys are so supportive. You guys are always excited to share tips and tricks with each other and just chat about your stories. It is just so intoxicating to witness. I've seen it a little bit over on Instagram. I'm part of the Bookstagram community there. I do a lot of ridiculous reels. If you want to deal with that and check that out, go for it. But I want the community. So that's all I have today. Thank you so much for sticking around, listening in. Please say hi below. I would love to meet some people and start chatting about our stories and start really being part of this community. Super excited to be here. And again, if you have any pro tips on NaNoWriMo, share them with me, because I am terrified but excited. Just like I am to start AuthorTube. I am terrified and excited to be here. So until next time, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. It is the coolest thing.